All right, lads and lasses, welcome along. Dataset 7. I'm going to try and have a reasonably quick day today. Get through this. A lot I want to get through. I want to do the build as well today. So let's get going, eh? So for Dataset 7, I want to do something a little bit different, right? Not kind of done a lot of this. Talked about KPIs, talked about what measures, right? Haven't really touched on how do you know your DNR eat. Yeah, and that's kind of quite important. Got to be able to validate these things. So I found this data set over on GitHub, right? Perfect for what we want to do, right? Want to have a look at data mining, right? So how on earth do you validate your KPIs? When you've got a load of KPIs in your environment, and we've said in the past, if you didn't know what you're doing with your KPIs, you need to if that's kind of you, then you should probably have a think about what we do. But if it's not you, and you're like, well, I know exactly what my KPIs are doing. They're all very well structured, very well explained, well documented. And then you say, all right, have you got a process to go with that? And they go, yes, we have process documentation. Here we go. Right. So you look at your sheets of paper. Like, oh, look at sheets of paper. Yeah. Right. And it's as clear as mud normally. So they've got this beautiful process. And you say, right, well, your KPIs are tied to your process. Is it what's happening? Because like I mean, a great example would be if we go back to say the IT environment, we look at time to fix IT equipment, right? So it's broken, my ticket's gone wrong, time to fix. So we'll go through and we'll have all the measures that'll show us, right? Are we working effectively? Are people being processed accordingly? Right? And I can almost guarantee, because I've kind of almost seen it everywhere I've been, and it, it's one of those like unpleasant truths, isn't it? It's like uncomfortable truth of the real world that you say, oh well, we're doing all these computers are being fixed really quickly. It's great, right? And yet for some reason you've got more tickets open each month, and they just keep building up. And what you're finding is that they're not being closed because well they've missed the target. So we've told the customer we've done the work. We haven't officially closed it, so it never really hits. And but your metrics look good. Are you providing good service? So what do you do? So there's a big battle on there. How do you evaluate that successfully? Right. And there's lots of things that you can do. So you can start looking at things like how many open tickets have we got at any given time? And you make sure that number isn't expanding because that's how you validate that people aren't just close or not closing things down, sorry. But then they'll find a way around that. Process mining is ideal, right? This is what it's all about. Because with a process mining methodology, what you can do is you can say, well, this is our process, this is what we do. These are our metrics that we've chosen because they fit our process. And then we can go through and we can look with process mining and see, well, is your process what's happening? And if it isn't, where's the bottlenecks? Where's the problems? What do we need to do? Right? So it's a really useful tool for doing that. So I found this lovely data set based around loan applications, right? It's yeah, in terms of a data set, uh, but the process mining capabilities, I hope you can get behind, and we'll show you what you can do. Anyway, let's have a look at where the data set is, right? We'll have a look at the raw data, right? And then we'll come back, we'll have a look at the design, we'll build a table set. It's dead simple today. Yeah, let's crack on, I. All right, so here we are on this GitHub site. Now, this guy, he looks like he's built a lot of stuff with process mining in mind, right? We'll have a look at some of the outputs on it, right? If you want to get into process mining, it's great to do. He's got some great R scripts in here, help you get going, right? I'm definitely not going to say, oh, different touch with a 10-foot pole, right? This is great stuff that he's got. All I'm going to show you is, that, do you know what? You can do a lot more, well, not necessarily even a lot more. You can do something similar for free within Power BI natively, and that natively is the key here, right? So this is a process map that we've got, and we can see it starts somewhere and it flows through, and we can see the touch points that are various processes are going through, or applications for loans, right? So this is his way of doing it. This is in our jobs are good and aye. Let us go back. Let us go back again, right? And then it's in the data. This is the CSV you need to download. So I just click on it now. Let me just download it, and then I'll open it up here, right? And then we're going to start going through and building. See, it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic, right? And you'll see it when I pull it into Power BI desktop. Okay, let's jump out of Power BI and let's start the build. All right, so here we are, right? And with the magic of television, I've been able to build all this ready for it, and I'll take you through what we've done. Yeah, first thing, when we've done the straight import from the CSV, what I've done is I've hidden this table effectively. So I've right clicked on it and unticked this enable load. Right. What that means is we can then use it as just a reference table of data for the other two tables that we're going to use. So we've got the offers table, which is tracking really it's offers of loans that have been made. Now, because of the nature of this table, if we look at the source data, you'll see here I've got lots of duplicates of this case ID. So this has already given me a row for each state that the loan has gone through. Yeah. So what I need to do first off is I've removed the other columns that we didn't need. So we've trimmed it right back to a fairly simple, well, a much more simple data set that's just about the offer, really, right? And then what I've done is I've filtered the rows so that we're only looking at ones that have got an offer ID because it's the offer ID that we're looking at just for the sake of this. Yeah. If we're doing this in the real world, we would look at a different way of doing it. So we would have a key date or a key step that we would be able to say, this is a successful loan, right? Here we're doing it based on an offer ID has been created. Okay. The next thing I'm doing is I'm removing the duplicates in the case ID, sorry, in the offer ID column. Yeah, because there's duplicate offers. Because each row that follows on in that process, in that case, uses the same offer ID. Right? The next thing you can see is we've got duplicates in the case ID still. So this case here, for example, had 3 different offer IDs. So presumably the person was not back and like, ah, no, I need me loan, man. I need me loan, right, for their car. So you get this kind of thing happening. So what we need to do then is I've sorted the rows again, and this time I've sorted the timestamp in a descending order. Yeah, so that we're now going to get when we remove duplicates on the case ID, we're now going to get the latest value, so the final loan offer that they received. Okay, and we do that with the remove duplicates. The next thing I've done, right, one thing you'll learn about Power BI and the way it processes data, and especially I've mentioned it before, the way it compresses everything, is date time values are the enemy, right? However, for process mining, date time values are a must. So there's a necessary evil there. You've got to trade those off, right? But for this, we're looking at it on a monthly basis, right? For the sake of these, so have a date stamp, right? That's what you would do. The rest of this now is about fudging, really, and it is a fudge. To get was kind of like some kind of a calendar table embedded into this, right? I wouldn't do this normally, right? Having that date value that you get here is enough. At that point, plumb in your calendar table, link the two together, jobs are good and bish bash bosh, it'll work, right? But for this, I've just kept it simple and just added a couple of columns in so that we've got a month year column, that's the number and it's the year and the month, and then we've got a month name, right? Because you can combine the two, like sort this column by that column, and it'll work, and then it'll show January in the right place and it'll appear in the right orders. Yeah. So far, so good. Champion. So for a mining table, this is the audit that we're going to gan through, right? So as I've always said with Power BI, long and narrow data sets is the way you want to be. Yeah. So we've got our case ID, which is going to link it back into our offers table. We've got the timestamp and we've got activity. So like, where is it? Where is it in the process? So is it submitted? Is it this? Is it that? Right? And that's what we'll use for the process mining. Okay. So if we come back out of here, let's close and apply that. All right, so we've got that all loaded in now. Yeah, you can see we've got our two tables. I've drawn a line. I've joined case ID to case ID. So one to many because one offer has many steps in it. Yeah, that's really simple. Okay, so that's kind of it for today. I hope you realize that's not a complicated build, is it? It's pretty simple. The main thing to think through with process mining steps, if you're going to go that way, is what you want to be doing is thinking, how can I get this kind of a column structure, right? It's never going to be more than 5 columns, really, in practice that you're looking for, but you want to be able to get them down, right? And having that in a Power BI fact table goes a long way. And there are a lot of products out there that do really good status audit fields. And a status audit field for this works really well because you'll have, oh, at this date time, I went from this value to this value. At this date and time, I went from this value to this value, right? And you can plumb all of that in, right? And get some really extensive information about what's going on within your business and actually what's really going on. Not the here's me process diagram that I've agreed is going to happen. Actually, what is happening? And that then becomes a very compelling argument to look at something like Power BI, where you can bring in your Visio diagrams in a Visio visualization along with your process mining and start to compare the two, compare and contrast. Right? If you go down the paid route of the platform that we'll show you, they also have a comparator function where you can say this is the right way for it to go. And then it will tell you how things have varied from the norm. So there's an awful lot that you'll learn from being able to start to do process mining. There's an awful lot more you should learn and that you should want to learn. And I'm hoping that from this demonstration that we do in Dataset 7, that you're going to really think this is something that will make sense to me and to my business. And going forward, we want to start to embrace those principles of data management and data mining. Okay? Champion. Catch you next week.